everyone. Thanks for stopping in. Welcome to Marianne's Mystic Mentions with me, Marianne, and welcome to your May readings. I am pushing them out, boy, and today's a pretty auspicious and powerful day for the featured sign of Sagittarius. I started to say Scorpio because we have, well, officially it was last night, and that would have been May 15th, around 11:15. I started seeing it because I was looking outside for this incredible super blood moon. Super meaning closer, bigger, because it literally is bigger and closer to the earth, appearing bigger. Whew, and then it was the lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. And they come in pairs. We had the first solar, it's always the new and the full. The solar eclipse was April 30th. New moon, new beginnings, everything in the sign of Taurus. And then we have, which is also our north node at this time because they have switched nodes from last year completely. And the south node being that of Scorpio. Full moon. And in fact, so I saw it starting to happen, but I was exhausted, and it was about 10 to 11 when I was like, wow, I'm seeing things. I didn't see the full effect. I'm understanding places in San Jose, California, you could see it better, and then also in other parts of the world. So then it was then seen in Europe this morning. And I also understand that it has this incredible red color to it, which I did not see, but hence the blood aspect. But the power is there nonetheless. Now, let me explain to you that the sign of Scorpio is originally Mars ruled, so there's a masculine, fierce, fiery energy to it, okay? And you've heard the term intense when you speak of Scorpios, I'm sure, if not on my channel, somewhere in your lifetime. And what it pertains to, sometimes it has a strange connotation, the word intense. I, for myself, get a little triggered and think, oh, I have 3 major planets in Scorpio. I understand intensity. I don't think I show it outwardly, though I have in my life, of course. But there's no mistaking the energy of a Scorpio, whether they're mild-mannered or whatever their nature versus nurture aspect is. They're emotional beings, and they are deeply emotional, and they are deep because they are more modernly ruled by Plutonian energy, which is Pluto. And that's the deepest and the most soul-searching kind of energy. That is about probably the most critical aspects that we have of ourselves, and how we view ourselves, and what the fear of maybe what people think, and the need to really work with this for the eventual releasing of that. And the phoenix rising from the ashes is notoriously associated with Scorpio because of this ruling planet of Pluto, because of the astounding times that I've noticed in my life with my association with Scorpios. They're continuing. We all transform through life. It's just different jobs, different marriages, different friendships, moves in our life, and that's a transformation, of course. But this is more of on a personal level and completely reinventing yourself kind of energy, which is I'm seeing in my close circle as well as my professional circle. Astounding numbers, which I'd started hearing about just prior to 2020, and the new norm and all these things, and having a different viewpoint, a different belief system as to how things can be on all levels of our life. Now, I want to say that because of the other very predominant energies that have taken place, suggesting the change of Jupiter, the sign of Jupiter, the benevolent, incredibly, yes, masculine, but freedom-seeking, adventure, love. That's actually more Venus, but love is in there because just gifts and expansion and opportunities and magic and good luck and fortune and just complete, once again, transformation of your life, sometimes overnight, sometimes well-planned and thought through. Taurus would be that. Taurus is the sign that is the earth sign, that is the new moon I spoke of, and making plans and planting seeds for long time ventures and the patience to watch that unfold. You know, not every one of us has that, but it's such a beautiful energy to be shared with all of us to ignite that in ourselves, you know, because we all can be that, but we have this extra power and energy working to show us that and to train us and to help us. It's all about helping us and guiding us. What we choose to do with it is always our own free will. I'm a huge advocate of making that clear. I don't ever claim to predict your future. The messages I read are ones that come from spirit and my definite intuitive kits. It's definitely from the beautiful divinations I use of the tarot and the oracle messages and the runes and things of that nature. I consider them as a conduit. I have gotten a lot of repeat messages from the readings thus far. And I'm in the beautiful featured sign of the fiery Jupiter ruled, by the way. Passionate, justice, truth-seeking, adventurous, freedom-seeking, for heaven's sake, sign of Sagittarius. And if you've watched me for any length of time, you know I love Sagittarius. And I do have some skin in the game. One of my sons is a Sagittarius, but it happened way before that. The person who introduced me to the fact that I was a Libra at the age of 12. Who knew? And then it went from there, and here I am. So if you're new to my channel, I would love for you to hang in and hang out and stop by and continue to watch me, because, you know, I have a huge investment in this. I'm honestly just wanting to bring it forth for the sake of helping people to realize that there's so many things that we can do, that we can create, that we can manifest. And just allowing that and working with these energies. Sometimes, you know, it's like fighting City Hall. We have been and still are and will be through June 3rd until the shadowy end around June 17th, 18th, give or take. We're in Mercury retrograde in the sign of Gemini. Now, they have really been kicking my behind because they are in air signs and I am an air sign. And it just, I know about what to do. I take notes every single retrograde, and there's a lot of common denominators for me. Perhaps you can relate, even as a Sagittarius or whatever sign you are, because we're all being affected. Always transportation. Maybe you want to get a new car, but I don't advise it during this time. It's doable, but just things will change, no doubt, when it comes to contracts of any kind. But we're always so much invested in wanting to for some reason. It's a very, you know, kind of an ironic sensation and occurrence that happens. But at the same time, it affects our speech. It affects technology. And I know that happens every day of every year and so forth. So you can say, well, that's always happening. And it's true. It happens more. And there's these blocks and stops and kind of just, you got to go with it. And when you have that mentality, as I said, I work on all the time, I always notice it because my schedule changes. From the second of the shadow, I start getting the, oh, Marianne, I need to reschedule for that. And thank goodness they're rescheduling. And of course, the latest, you know, surge, if you will, is as far as I'm going to talk about that, of course affects me. And so, yeah, that's been really noticeable. And I rely on it for my money. It's my main claim to fame as far as money. I do readings. I do massages for, you know, 21 years now. And then I've been starting a cream. I'm going to actually probably have somebody to help me at some point when it's not a retrograde and get that on as a possibility for you if you're interested. I do make body butters that I'm absolutely in love with. I don't know why I didn't do it years ago, because as a massage therapist, I use it every day and I have the most finest organic ingredients, but I sidetrack. Sagittarius. It is crazy because the day that Mercury retrograde occurred is the day that Jupiter went into Aries. And Aries is such an incredible, the first sign of the zodiac, the fire sign, the ambitious, the leader, the cardinal. Let's make it happen. Let's really take charge and go full tilt ahead. And the ambition and the courage and the motivation is heightened. And it will be for the remainder of time that Jupiter is in Aries. It doesn't matter whether you have Aries placements, because we're all going to be affected. But if you do, and I do, and I know my son does, you're going to feel it even more. And as I say, I lean on my channel to the optimistic aspects of it, because everything has a light and a shadowy side to it. I mean, if anything I can say that I'm not going to dwell on it, it would be that, you know, the expansion that takes place. Sometimes it could be in your stomach. If you're overdoing it and overindulging because you're having such beautiful feelings about how things are working, and maybe you're just partying too much, or whatever the case may be. It's an individual, you know, situation. But just to be aware of that and to recognize this is hands down can be one of the best years of your life too, Sagittarius, because you're a fire sign, and that's beautiful. And that'll be that way through, it's May, it started on May 10th. It'll end on October 28th when Pisces comes back for a 2-month stint. Partially will be in the retrograde of Jupiter, which is started, I believe it's starting at the end of July. Don't quote me. Happens every year. It just internalizes things more. The magic and the beauty and the wonderful things happening still happen. And once again, because that is your ruling planet, you can plant it too. It's all good. There's the verbiage and the speech and things that go a little haywire during Mercury retrograde, but we push through it. No, you can definitely, you can live life. You just want to kind of really be aware and double check things you may write or things you send. I've sent wrong emails and information, you know, and that's just a part of what it is. Overall, this is an incredibly powerful month. We have the new moon happening in Gemini, which is your polar opposite, Sagittarius. And I'm excited about that too, because Gemini is an air sign, and air and fire are extremely compatible. They harmonize very well together. I see them as couplings and, you know, love connections all the time. It's the top 2 percentile or whatever, the top, whatever, how it's up there. It just works, and it's been shown and proven over and over. And I no doubt those that are watching, a lot of Sagittarius don't watch my channel. I think they're just out and about doing their thing. But you're mutable sign, you're open to things, and you're willing to listen, and you know, you also are very interested in philosophy and higher learning, and almost like in sectors that are taboo, like religion and, you know, astrology. You can be extremely proficient and master in that particular field or whatever it may be. You have that arrow, and when you point that arrow, you are determined to get where you need to go, and nothing really stops you, because you have that objective of, it's going to happen, and I'm going to allow it to happen. And that's a huge part of our manifestation, is believing it and allowing it. And then lastly, you know, you represent half man, half horse. So it's an absolute truth that anybody that I've known or read about or studied, as far as, you know, fire signs in general, but Sagittarians, they love some form of exercise. It is not only because they want to keep in good shape, they feel good, it's because they need to release this excess energy that happens a lot with fire signs, and you're no exception, Sagittarius. So it's important to utilize all this. And then this huge component I've left out, but I won't, is that the fact that Jupiter went into Aries is directly across from the polar opposite sign of Libra. So Libra is the sign of balance, of fairness, of justice, which you love. I know many Libra, Sagittarius friends, you know, relationships, partnerships of all kinds. And it's about romance. Venus ruled Libra. Venus is money, it's magic, it's beauty, it's absolute love, it's such femininity, it's commitment, it's connection, it's an air sign as well. It's thinking and being able to talk and work through things that may have been a little bit concerning for whatever reason. This is what the full lunar eclipse, which will last, its effects will last for months. So even though I've had a problem with uploading and everything, it's just what happens when I'm working with the natural influences that come with retrogrades and such. Whenever you watch this is perfect. And I do recommend you watch your sun, moon, and rising, and Venus, because that's about love and how you react and create and work in the area of love in your life. So I think it's super important. I keep wanting to put this aside, but I'm not going to, because what I do as my regular, protocol, I start with the little lowdown on, the sign itself, and then I pick the spirit-guided love connection for you during the month of May. Now we're at the 16th of May, so odds are good you know what I'm speaking of, and it could be somebody you're already very much attached to or committed to. And there's going to be some new, beautiful, I want to say changes, of course, but there's other words that are wanting to come. They're coming fast and furious. Elevation of your relationship, places you haven't really touched base on before this. There's that Scorpio intensity of sensuality and sexuality, which cannot be mistaken. 8th house is Scorpio. It's about life and death and rebirth and starting anew and rising above. As I said, it's other people's money, inheritances, it's taxes, it's, well, like example, you know, with my work, when somebody reschedules or changes or they are ill, it affects myself, but it's actually because of their input, whether I receive it or not, right? Just an example. But the list goes on and on. Windfalls, unexpected money, you know, places and things you didn't, that were due to you and could come to you. And then coupled with the fact that Taurus is the money sign and ruled by Venus as well, which was the new moon eclipse. And then this is going to continue on, this pairing of Taurus and Scorpio for all of us through, I believe it was May 16th of next year, 2023. So be prepared for your love life or good, great friendships, which is very important for you, Sagittarius. I've known this. I've seen it. To me, I think that's the basis for you. You're not in a rush to just fall in love. I mean, it has a lot to do with other planetary placements, but I think you know what I'm speaking of. And when you do fall in love, and I don't like the term fall anyway, when you find love, it's usually long lasting and it's fun, it's adventurous, it's just living the good life. Okay, so let's see, as I ask Spirit to please help in the guidance with your special love connection, because it may be somebody you have no idea about. I will tell you as soon as I do pick it what time frame this is. It could be family, it could be, like I said, work for sure. It could be a time of the year with the energy of this particular sign that'll motivate you towards a love of a new idea, a new, you know, invention, a new job, a new entrepreneurial endeavor of some sort. So for you, for the month of May, it falls on you. And that's not impossible. Of course, you can have a Sagittarius, you know, coupling or friendship of deep, you know, devotion and caring. It happens all the time where a lot of the same sign tend to hang out. Let me try it one more time now. Cancer. Woo! Okay, well, I really appreciate this because it's water. And, you know, Cancer is a water sign, as is the Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse I'm speaking of, and Pisces. Now, Jupiter was in Pisces. Jupiter was the ruling planet of Pisces originally, and then went to more modernly Neptune. And Neptune is in Pisces, and Neptune is the god of the underworld and the unseen and the kind of nebulous, you know, boundless kind of imaginational type of, who knows, using your imagination, using your creativity in a heightened way, using your inner intuition, guidance, the higher power, your third eye, just knowing, this absolute knowing. Boy, is that ever a very, very true statement of water signs in general. Cancer is no exception. Cancer is ruled by the moon. So it's interesting that that would come up for you. Perhaps you have Cancer, once again, placements in your chart. And there's a real sensitivity that you're feeling. There's a real just almost awakening as to a revelation of sorts, you know, and guidance. There's a real sense of all of us really being guided now to work towards what we have put on the back burner, or, you know, didn't want to face, with the last couple of years just being tumultuous and very, very difficult in a lot of ways for people. And some people learned and gained a great deal. So that is a generalization as well. But I will tell you that there's notably, and by the way, we are in Taurus season, and then we enter into Gemini season on the 20th of May, which is actually this Friday. And it'll go from this earthy, grounded to excitable, changeable, mutable, which is what you are as well. You're a mutable sign too. Sign of Gemini, which is, definitely Mercury ruled, communication, connection, adventure, fun, collaboration, all of these things that may have been stopped in this Mercury retrograde or for other various reasons is going to start forward again. And it's going to be so exciting because that's what you're all about, and the newness of it and the fun once again. I mean, I know that you can be extremely hardworking Sagittarians, but I also know that you have to have that balance of fun. That's where that Libra aspect comes in, is finding that balance. For you also represents the tarot card of temperance, and that's not only just about balance and moderation and in everything you're doing for the overall holistic well-being. It's also about the alchemy. We have the ability to change and, shape shift and really just magically do things that are unexplainable. But that's what I love about life, because there are so many things and mystical aspects that are happening all the time about that. That's being brought to the forefront with this, there's no lucid aspects to the watery element, right? It's free flowing. It can go and be and, just fluid, and it's just fabulous. And it represents and encourages dreaming and daydreaming and night dreaming and being aware of your dreams and the promptings and the downloads that come in. So it could happen around summer, because that's when the sign of Cancer really is, of course, more notable, because, that's their season, and that's right after Gemini. So that'll be June 22nd, I believe, through July 22nd. So something really, really pertinent from this full moon, I think, is going to bring up, I think, a very loving, and it could be very familiar, because it has to do a lot with family when it has to do with Cancer. Maybe going on vacation and being with your family, talking about a family, planting the seeds for an actual family, because we all have those different cycles. And you go through the cycle where it's time, and after a while it's not time, and then you go on to the next phase, and then they grow up and they're out, and then you retire and you're at a place where you're like watching your grandchildren, and then the cycle continues, and it's so beautiful. And I think a lot of that was brought to each and every one of our hearts during these last couple of years, when a lot of that was, taken away from us. So it's very strong right now. So you're a fire sign, and you're optimistic, and you like to do a lot of things, but I'm sensing there's this real heart-centered attention that's happening for you. And it could be, like I said, with that Cancer energy you're well aware of, or someone you're well aware of, or someone you could meet. Well, now I'd like to read the 4 weeks that represent your May, each card representing each week. We've had 2 that have already passed, and I really kind of dig it in a way, because, then you can see, oh, that's exactly right, or not so much. Some people are going to resonate, some not. These are general readings. I hope that's the case. I hope you do, and you want to come back and continue to be part of my tribe. And there's one really sure way you can do that. Here's my plug. If you would be so kind as to push the subscribe button. It just takes a moment, and a lot of times I don't think people realize there's no money involved, or you're not going to be inundated with a bunch of emails, which is the last thing any of us need, myself included. But it's so incredibly supportive, and it helps my channel, it helps it to grow, and I'm wanting it to grow, and I want it to just, I don't know, organically go places I don't even know, but it's helpful to do that, as well as like or share. always feel free to comment, okay? And I, once again, appreciate you greatly. I will be here for you. So the first week that we entered into May, just after that new moon eclipse, which I think was very positive in a lot of ways for a lot of people, you have the Eight of Wands. Wow. So for you, it was just basically like, I'm not really surprised. All systems go. There was a lot of information coming in pretty quickly at the beginning of May, things that you had kind of brought through from April, but it was probably quicker than you may have even thought. And it's not that you can't keep up with it. This is you. You are that fire. You are that spirit. You are the information and the ability to do and multitask. It's just in your nature, Sagittarius. So this is confirming that you're on the right path, and you're hearing things that absolutely confirm that for you. And it's a bright color, and it shows that there was definite support, I would say, because it comes from all different places. And what exactly that was, I don't know, but I think and I hope that you can relate, as I said, because that is a great way to start. Is there was, we've had other retrogrades from the beginning of the year, and then the dust clears and we start over, and there was that clear path, and then we were starting to feel the shadowy period. But it didn't override some of the incredible, beautiful energies that come, like with Jupiter and Aries, in your favor. So onward and upward is how I'm feeling about that. The second energy, second week, that was just building up to this incredible lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So the feelings were being felt easily a week, sometimes before that. Certainly if you have that water element in you, that's way more perceptive, and you feel energies, easier than I guess others. And you allow that, and it's pretty beautiful. Or somebody and they tend to really help you and guide you with things you may not be seeing. That's what I love about relationships, they're hopefully there to fill our needs and to always, support us in many ways. Second week. This has come up every reading, and I believe it's been in this position at least twice, but it's also been the first position. It's Judgment. And it's such a beautiful depiction. I am using the Light Series deck. It's one of my favorites, absolutely. Judgment is, it's a decision, it's done, It was sometimes absolutely by your direct, making, or if you happen to be in law, which would not be unheard of in any shape or form as far as being a Sagittarius, and the seeking of higher learning and truth and fairness and, just, yeah, beautiful, beautiful desire for truth, which, by the way, this full moon is going to bring out so many truths that are going to be hard for a lot of us, but necessary, because we've been kind of on a, waiting for a lot of the truth to be revealed. And this will absolutely, as the months go on, you'll be hearing more and more, and it'll just be cleared, and you'll have a better understanding of where you stand and what's going on in the world, in fact, not just personally. But I love this because you can see this almost spirit form, which is what we are, right? We're spirit in a physical form, coming up and rising from the above. This beautiful analogy of, Scorpio, the phoenix rising from who they were to where they need to be now. It can be extremely, what am I trying to say? When it's destined, it's, I don't know. Well, of course I know why it's not happening. The words are harder, but you know what I'm saying. It's fate. It's absolutely, it was preordained, okay, before perhaps you even came into this physical body. And now it's showing itself in whatever fashion that I've mentioned to you, and it's feeling great. It feels like it has to happen. It's necessary. And I know that, as a fire sign Sagittarian, you want change. You like to continue to emerge and to grow and to, transform. It's just definitely something I think you're in favor of. And so here you have universe saying, yes, we agree, and here you are, and here you go. And the third week, well, we're approaching that now. And that will be the change of the seasons from Taurus to Gemini. And a definitely different energy, you know, both amazing in their own right, both offering us some beautiful insights. And for ourselves and for others, you know, that whoever you're involved with. And that is going to be, oh my goodness, that's the 10 of Wands. Well, there you are again. But what's really beautiful about this depiction, as opposed to the Rider-Waite-Smith, where there's somebody who has a bunch of these wands, which is the physical and the mental and the everyday stresses that we carry, right? You know, I mean, metaphorically and physically, you know, sometimes the burdens as well as the responsibilities, you know, they're not all burdens, but we have a lot to do. We have a lot on our plate. And in this depiction, it's a kind of a calmer look of like, yep, got it going on, but it's the 10, it's ending. I'm actually done with taking on all that responsibility. I know now to delegate. I have a great partnership, perhaps, that I've just instigated or I plan on instigating, and it's going to alleviate a lot of that. I'm going to divvy it out so there is more temperance, as I mentioned earlier, or equality with the Libra influence in the aspect of being directly across from Aries. Jupiter in Aries now for months to come. So this is fantastic. This is as life should be. And sometimes it takes strange ways and paths to get to that point, but you're there. You're coming to a huge understanding, which, by the way, even as a person who likes to exercise and do all this stuff, you need your downtime, Sagittarius. And sometimes I feel like that can be overlooked, I'll be honest. So I like this coming up for you. You know, you're definitely at the start of a new cycle and a new beginning in some form. And it'll lighten your load, and that's just going to add more to your life and to your optimistic attitude that you generally carry with you, which is why people love being around you, and you have a lot to share and to teach. And then the final week, as I said, the new moon on the 30th, which was Memorial Day weekend that we tend to celebrate. It's a long weekend. You might want to take a little trip. I'm pretty sure you already planned it out already. Even if it's around your area, I know you, and I know you're like, oh yeah, I'm getting out for a couple of days. It's got to happen. And let's just see what comes up for you and see how. Well, we have justice. Wow. I love it. Now, justice is interesting because you've got both judgment and justice, but justice represents the Libra influence that's going to be with us very strongly, and it has to do a lot with our relationships, but also the balance that I said. So it's a very strong informational message for you. And I do dare say, if it has to do with court, that it will come in your favor. And I'm really happy to say that. There's also a very large court case happening that I won't talk specifically about, but a lot of people know. Actually, there's a few, but there's one in particular. And I believe it's going to culminate, and it'll be done at the end of this month. And justice will prevail. So I think we're all kind of really interested in, those that are watching, I should say, in understanding and knowing what that will mean. So that is a major arcana, but judgment is already done. It's already happened. It's already fated, as I said. Justice is something that we pray for, we fight for, and it's saying that it's going to be occurring for you. So you could be an attorney, and it could be a case you've been waiting on, and it will be in your favor. And that's always a beautiful thing as well, right? Because I know that that's a hard occupation, and I'm learning more and more about it as time goes on. Indirectly, I should say. I'm not trying to be a lawyer, but boy, I do care about justice too. I'm a Libra, for heaven's sakes, you know, it's just in my nature. But what a fascinating reading for you, and what a beautiful reading for you. What a positive. Let down your too much, taking on too much, not unusual for you. ending with justice because you've had the conversations. You say, no, this isn't working anymore. Let's do this. This is the more fair way to do it. I'll do this, you do this, blah, blah, blah. You know, just this, the judgment, you know, you made a decision, you're sticking with it. You are very, very true to your word, Sagittarius. You are, like I said, I'm always on the optimistic side of things. I know that everybody has, you know, different circumstances and nobody's perfect in the world, but you're pretty close. So anyway, that's your information for the month, but it could easily carry on for months with the eclipses, because, you know, we're in eclipse season and it makes things more certainly emotional, more dramatic, more, you know, quick endings and beginnings, and information, like I said, that'll teach us and guide us for the best possible outcome. I'm going to finish with your couple of oracle messages for the month of May. I get so excited every time I'm doing this. I hope it uploads relatively quickly for you, and you'll come back, like I said, in June. I would love to have that. For the month, this is a beautiful oracle called the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms, because there's a lot of that going on too, but we can always ask to be a part of that, to be privy to some of the information. They come in dreams, it comes in overhearing things, or through music, or, you know, our walks in nature, you know, looking at the, not too close, you're not supposed to, I'm told, but, you know, the eclipses, and just feeling the intensity and the power that they have. And of course they affect us. I mean, the moon controls the tides. We are a lot of water. We feel things, and it's all incredibly amazing and awesome. This thing called life, right? The Arrow Master. Oh my gosh. Whew. Wow, thank you, Spirit. Well, that's you and your arrow. You know, I mentioned that is your archetype, because you just, like, you point it and you point at that target and you make sure it happens. You're very, very determined. Hitting the mark, intention, and detachment. Number 10, there's that 10 again. You know, the 10 of Wands, that's a 10, take away the 0, that then becomes a 1, because you're starting a new cycle. You are ready to start something incredibly different. And it could, like I said, it could be obviously a job, it could obviously be a relationship, but it could also be, it could be a child, it could be a family. That'll change your life for the rest of your life. Something's up. Something's really, really, really up with you. I absolutely love this. Let me read to you what it says specifically, and send you on your wonderful way, Sagittarius. Number 10. I love that they came up. The Arrow Master appears to help you target your intentions and teaches you how to shoot straight for the stars. The message is to be deliberate about focusing your dreams, and it's a little harder during the retrograde, so you have to work a little extra hard. I know I have. I've done things I can't even talk to you about, but it's just because I'm an air sign. I'm a mind person too, and I know that even though you're fire, you do think a lot. You're very intent on that. So be deliberate, and yeah, with your dreams and desires, with intention, and about alignment, aligning your intentions with spirit. Then let them fly on the wind, directed by the divine, until they reach your goal. Okay, you let it go, and then you just allow and you surrender, and that's that spiritual part of all of us that just kind of knows, if I were to lay here and the world continues on, but somehow I'm going to have everything works out exactly as it needs to. It's quite remarkable sometimes. I think, wait, that's all I had to do? It's just like, stop. Wow, had I only known, you know. It's just putting that out there. That's gorgeous and beautiful. And I think you know that. I think you innately know that, because you're a Sag. Keep pointing those arrows, Sag. Never give up. Now, this is a beautiful deck that I really like, and it's the Motivation Manifesto deck. So I'm going to pick your particular motivation for the month. If you have not seen this before, I think they're amazing. They can be a short sentence or a paragraph, and something to kind of just repeat maybe, or, you know, use as an affirmation or a mantra, you know, that you hopefully take, if you want, a snapshot, and just say it over and over and watch your energy change. If it's not feeling the way you need it to, we can control that. There aren't a lot of things sometimes we can control, but our emotions and how we react, absolutely. Not always easy. I didn't say it was, but we can definitely control that. So for you, beautiful Sagittarius, all greatness teeters on whether a would-be hero overcomes the terror within and advances regardless. Whew, that repeating, that bears repeating. All greatness teeters on whether a would-be hero overcomes the terror within and advances regardless. Now there's you in the arrow and just your determination and your spirit and your optimism and your belief. You know, it is about our beliefs, isn't it? Well, keep them going because you can do and become what you choose. Within reason, come on now, you know you can't. I shouldn't say can't. I don't care for that word. But I wouldn't imagine that you would think, okay, I'm going to now become, especially now, I suppose, you know, everything going on, you know, I'm going to become a space, I'm going to go out into outer space and, you know, do all that they do. That's years of, you know, studying. So if you're not, but you could do it. If you put forth that energy and you just, I mean, I don't know what their age parameters are and everything. You get my point. Or maybe you could be around that and work in some way in, you don't have to be the one going up, but maybe creating something else. So, I mean, just never let go. Never let go. And when you're fearful, do it anyway, right? So I'm going to finish with your rune. I love the runes. They're magical, and this one popped out, for heaven's sakes. They're the alphabet, but it's the, I always say Greek, and I said I was going to look that up. Oh boy, I hope I'm right about this. This kind of reminds me of a sorcerer's hat for some reason. I don't remember the alphabet at this point, but lucky for me, I asked for the beautiful flashcards so that I can read it to you, and then hopefully in time, after doing it several times, I'll be able to remember that, because I do really respect the oracle of the rune and their guidance and their upliftment and the love that they send, because it is remarkably true to a lot of the circumstances that I've noticed when I do my readings. So where is it? Is it almost the end here? For heaven's sakes, I have not seen it yet. Here we go. Nope, that is certainly not it. I am so sorry. I'm not finding it. Bear with me. I'm kind of surprised because it looks like a little hat. What can I do about this? Where did it go? That's not it. What in the world? Huh. Man. Oh, here it is. Could be a P, actually. I'm feeling like it's a P from my past when I said, oh, that looks like such and such. I'm wrong completely. It is Thursaz. The TH, letter TH is how they pronounce it. Thursaz, rune number 3. 3 is remarkable, and it's about mastery, and it's about growth, and it's about community. It's about help of others. It's masterminds working together to achieve and to support and to create. So this is beautiful. Okay, and the theme is Thor's hammer, thorn. Gosh, I want to be able to remember this. Okay, so I will just in my mind right now, in front of you, should you ever come back, and this comes up again, the sorcerer's hat has now then become a hammer. The protection, regeneration, justice, oh my gosh, there's justice, defense, guardian, and righteous are the keywords. The magical working is purposeful destruction, defense, protection, getting justice. Wow, we got the justice card, we got just judgment. We've spoke about, you know, just how important this full moon is for revealing truth and discernment, and love relationships is the last. This is what I'm speaking of. This could not be more perfect. And the key phrase is a force for good, always. We always want to do things that are for the betterment, right? Truly, it's always the best choice. Righteous anger, fighting back. Now that's that Mars energy, which could get you carried away, which would not be a characteristic of you, but it's predominant. So being aware of that is like the best thing you can do. taking those deep breaths when you feel inclined to do so, rather than fight back and say something you'll fully regret. Protecting what you cherish, a good defense. And that goes back to the, law and order again. That's huge, but that is who you are. That is what you represent. So absolutely love this. Hope you did as well. Hope you'll continue to feel the rest of the month. If things like this are really standing out for you, please let me know. I would love to hear that. Thank you for your time. Bless you. Have an incredible month. There's a lot of incredible, beautiful energies for you. Having fun and all sorts of beautiful aspects. So until next time, thank you. Bye for now.